ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी।
Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, title Conclusion, the perfection of renunciation, and verse number 6. Etani apitu karmani
एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि
sangam tvakta phalani cha
संगं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
kartavyani iti me partha
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्।
निश्चितं मतमुत्तमम्।
एतानि अपितु कर्माणि
एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि
संगम त्वक्ता फलानि च
संगं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
निश्चितं मत उत्तमम्।
निश्चितं मत उत्तमम्।
प्रभु जी।
एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि
एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि
संगं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
संगम त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
निश्चितं मतम उत्तमम्।
निश्चितं मत उत्तमम्।
एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि
एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि
संगं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
संगम त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
कर्तव्यानीति
कर्तव्यानीति
मे
मे
पार्थ
पार्थ
निश्चितं मतम् उत्तमम्
निश्चितं
निश्चितं
मतम
मत
उत्तमम्।
उत्तमम्।
एतानि अपि तु कर्माणि
एतानि
अपि
अपि
तु
तु
कर्माणि
कर्माणि
सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा फलानि च
संगम
संगं त्यक्त्वा
त्यक्त्वा फलानि
फलानि
च
च
कर्तव्यानीति मे पार्थ
कर्तव्यानीति
कर्तव्यानीति
मे
मे
पार्थ
पार्थ
निश्चितं मतम् उत्तमम्।
निश्चितं
निश्चितं
मत
मतम
उत्तमम्।
उत्तमम्।
Word by word meaning. Etani, all these.
Etani, all this.
Api, certainly.
Api, certainly.
Tu, but.
Tu, but.
Karmani, activities.
Karmani, activities.
Sangam, association.
Sangam, association.
Tvakta, renouncing.
Tyaktva, renouncing.
Phalani, results.
Phalani, results.
Cha, also.
Cha, also.
Kartavyani,
Kartavyani,
should be done as duty.
should be done as duty.
Iti, thus.
Iti, thus.
May, my.
My.
Partha, osana pratha.
Partha, osana pratha.
Nishitam, definite.
Nishchitam, accurate.
Matam, opinion.
Matam, opinion.
Uttamam, the best.
Uttamam, the best.
Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of the result.
Or any expectation of result.
They should be performed as
They should be performed as
a matter of duty.
a matter of duty.
O son of Pritha,
O
O
son of
son of Pratha,
that is my final opinion.
that is my final opinion.
Anyone would like to read this purport by His Divine Grace?
Although all sacrifices are purifying, one should not expect any result by such performances. In other words, all sacrifices which are meant for material advancement in life should be given up, but sacrifices that purify one's existence and elevate one to the spiritual lane should not be stopped. Everything that leads to Krishna consciousness must be encouraged. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also it is said that any activity which leads to devotional service to the Lord should be accepted. That is the highest criterion of religion. A devotee of the Lord should accept any kind of work, sacrifice, or charity which will help him in the discharge of devotional service to the Lord.
Thank you, Prabhu. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya
Shalakaya
Chakshurmilitam Yena
Yena
Tasmai Sri
Sri
Gurave
Gurave
Namah
Namah
Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena
Yena
Bhutale
Bhutale
Swayam Rupa
Samarupa
Kadamaiham
Kadamaham
Dadati
Dadati
Swapadantikam
Swapadantikam
Bandeham Shri
Deham
Guru
Sri
Shri
Guru
Kamalam
Kamalam
Shri
Sri
Guru
Guru
Vaishnavamsha
Vaishnavamsha
Shri
Sri
Rupam
Rupam
Sagrajatam
Sagrajatam
Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam
Raghunathan
Tam
Tam Tam
Sajivam
Sajivam
Sadvetam
Bhagavatam
Savadhutam
Savadhutam
Parijana
Parijan
Sahitam
Saitam
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Devam
Devam
Sri
Sri
Radha
Radha
Krishna
Krishna
Padan Shahagana Lalita Shri
Lalita Sri
Vishakanta
Vishakhanutancha
He
He
Krishna
Krishna
Karuna
Karuna
Sindhu
Sindhu
Deenabandhu
Dinabandho
Jagatpate
Jagatpate Gopesha
Gopesha
Gopika
Gopika
Kanta
Kanta Radha
Radha
Kanta
Kanta
Namostute
Namostute
Tapta
Tapta
Kanchana
Kanchana
Gaurangi
Gaurangi
Radhe Vrindavaneshwari
Vrindavaneshwari
Vrishabhanu Sute
Vrindavanusute
Devi
Devi
Pranamami Hari
Pranamami Hari
Priye
Priye
Vanchakalpa
Achakalpa
Taruvasya
Taruvach
Kripa Sindhu
Sindhu
Vacha
Devacha
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
Namo
Jai
Namah
Shri
Shri
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri
Shri
Advaita
Advaita
Gadadhara
Gadadhara
Shivash Adi
Srivasadi
Gaura
Gaur
Bhakta Vrinda
Bhaktavinda
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna
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 Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Hare
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 Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyang Jagannathaya Te Namo. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha every Saturday evening. Uh, this time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is telling to Arjuna about the attitude in which we should do our duty, our renunciation, tyaga, and this is where this is a very great subject matter where the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the last chapter talked about the culture of our intent in giving charity, in giving renunciation, in doing renunciation, and doing sacrifices. Here, in this verse, from a culture, you know, culture is a general thing. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going from a general way in which you should attack a problem to a very specific way with what should be the attitude of. And this verse is actually spoken by parents, spoken by our spiritual masters, spoken by day to day everyone. Do your duty, don't expect the result. And that is very commonly spoken by pretty much everyone. But the roots of all of that is nothing but this version. This verse is saying, Etani tu apikarmani. That means, and then he talks about Sangam Twakta, that are without attachment or doer mentality. So, and also Krishna mentions in the subsequent line, Falanicha, without expectation of result. And then he talks about do the work as a matter of duty, kartavya niti. So there is a lot of things which is going on here, but it's very easy to say that from a material sense, but it is very difficult to apply it in the material world. And that is the reason why we have to understand this. But Krishna consciousness, as Srila Prabhupada said, is simple, but is not easy. It's a very simple concept. Actually, if you give it up and lead a very simple life without attachment for anything, it's very easy to implement all this. But in this world, we don't live in a very simplistic manner. That's the reason why it's very difficult to understand a very simple concept which Krishna is saying. So Krishna was seeing Arjuna is struggling. Arjuna was having attachment to his teacher, attachment to his grandfather, attachment to his cousin brothers, attachment to his uncle, thinking too many things beyond his ability of his duty, and he was going all around the place, not focusing on the duty. So he was having too much of attachment. And also, he was thinking that if I do this, there'll be pollution in my family. There'll be so he was thinking because of him, there are so many things happening. We have this tendency that whenever we get an opportunity, we tend to increase our marketability in terms of see, this is a very complicated life with the social networking. Everybody at any intent of point in time is trying to increase the reputation, whether the reputation in Facebook, Twitter, or, or WhatsApp, or whatever the case may be. Because if the reputation is good, you will have fan following. So you're trying to create an aura around you, whether it is your posts in Facebook or Twitter, or your intent, your one-liner, this little tweet. So we are driven by a very individualistic appeal, and this is good in a way because it makes us think practically, but at the same time, we get too much attached to our Facebook tag, to our Twitter hashtag, and our ability to make a video viral. So, because of that, as you can see, there's a lot of incorrect things which are getting propagated, and that is why Srila Prabhupada said it is not easy. It's very simple. If you give everything up, it's very simple to understand Krishna consciousness, but it is not easy because we are all caught up in various different attachments and our ability to take over our life in the form of I'm in control of life, I'm the doer. Actually, if you think about it, we are in control of nothing. We can't walk if so many nervous systems don't act together. If Krishna would come in and twist a little neuron from one of our brain cells or whatever, we can't even walk, we can't even talk, we will be paralyzed. We don't know that there is somebody else who is controlling our life. He's in our heart as a super soul. And without knowing that, we're going around and violating some of the intrinsic principles of human behavior. So Krishna is saying Sangam Twakta. We have so this is see this is a topic about renunciation. This is a topic right from the beginning. Krishna and Arjuna is having a dialogue around renunciation. In the last verse, Krishna talked about culture of renunciation. So there's a culture in the way in which we lead our life. We eat, we sleep. Uh, that's the reason why we're different from animals. Likewise, after you understand that there is a culture, what should be our attitude in doing our duty? We should do, as Krishna is saying, without attachment. we will do something, but think that our ability of doing something is as a matter of service, service to someone else, service to someone else in connection with the Supreme. So when you do service, you don't think about, I'm the doer, I'm the CEO, I'm the manager, I'm the vice president, I'm the president. You do not think with a doer mentality. And you're doing it as a service, you're giving your best. If something good comes, it's good. But if it doesn't come, you shouldn't feel bad about. So the outcome should not drive our ability to do the service again with the same enthusiasm, with the same attitude. In any way, we should reduce that fundamental policy of doing the service. So if you do a service, you are not with attachment because you're doing service to someone else. It's not your job. You're just taking the ownership of doing service as a Madhyamadhikari or a Uttamadhikari, whatever the case may be. But you are not attached to that particular thing, and you are serving without result, and you are doing it as a matter of duty. So today we're going to discuss about the 30 duties of a human being as to how it is differentiated from an animal and how it is explained in the scriptures. And also, Krishna mentions in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned our dharma, our primary occupation. Savai pumsa paro dharma, yato bhaktir adokshaje, ahetuki apariharta, yayatma suprasiddhati. This our we have duty to our parents, we have duty to our in-laws, we have duty to our temple, we have duty to our family. These are some of the auxiliary duty under the confines of a greater duty, the supreme occupation, the supreme dharma of all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto transcendental Lord. See, in a material world, it's very difficult to understand. But after you go through various different Krishna conscious courts, festivals, association, I assume we all are at a point when we can understand that the supreme occupation of all humanity is that man can attain to loving devotional service unto transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy self. So ahetuki aparhita. And that is where Narad Muni in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 11th chapter, 8 to 12th verse, talks about 30 qualities, 30 duties, 30 attributes which makes a human being different from animals. We all know that none of us have these 30 qualities to the full, or we are trying to nurture these 30 qualities. So by seeing these 30 qualities, it should give us inspiration to get there. So Narad Muni is telling to Yudhishthira Maharaj that these are the 30 qualities which we'll go through, which differentiates between a human being and an animal. And these qualities shape us about a point which Krishna is making is as a matter of duty. What is our duty? Kartavyaniti. What is our duty? Our duty is to work under the confines of the first thing, Satyam, truthfulness. We should work always towards something based on truth and nothing but the truth. And that truth will drive us whether we are in the right path or in the wrong path. And we should deal with mercy. Every day-to-day life, our ability, our interaction, our food habits, or our ability, uh, thinking of mercy is a very important thing. Lord Jagannath is referred as the most merciful Lord of the universe. Always people go to temples, but Lord Jagannath, as Krishna, comes out to meet his devotees. Unless he has so much mercy, he won't do that. So having mercy in every step of the way, our eating habit it goes a long way in establishing. We, as once upon a time, we didn't know about these beautiful subject matter from Srimad Bhagavatam, the seventh chapter, canto, even seventh skanda or canto. Uh, Narad Muni is telling beautifully to Yudhishthir Maharaj, and that's no wonder Yudhishthir Maharaj exemplified all these qualities to a great degree. And the second quality he's saying is mercy. And the third quality, which we have been all talking about, is tapa, austerity. Austerity in the form of doing ekadasi vrata, doing fasting on certain days, saucham, being clean, bathing multiple times a day to keep us. If you are clean, your thought process will be clean. Tolerant, tol- tolerant than a blade of glass. It's mentioned in by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 8 verses of Sistashtakam. Be tolerant like a blade of grass. And if you become tolerant in your family, in your parents' family, or whatever family, lot of problems will get solved. If everybody becomes tolerant, there'll be no problem. Then discrimination between right and wrong. Our ability to detect and discriminate between right and wrong goes a long way in fulfilling our duty. So that is the sixth duty. Sama, control the mind, not act whimsically. How to be equipossessed, how to be equipossessed, and Arjuna is asking that question as to how a person can be equipossessed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, which we went through uh, very nicely. Dhamma, how to control senses. We should act and do a duty bound life with controlling the senses and do life, our ability to provide an attitude in life where we deal with non-violence. Stay celibate. Celibate is not having a physical relationship with anybody other than your spouse. And there are more details about that also in Krishna conscious subject matter, which we can hear from various different sannyasis. Tyaga, have a life full of charity, and we discussed what charity is. Swadhyaya, reading scriptures, which you are doing right now, hearing scriptures. Lead a life of simplicity. Krishna consciousness is simple, but it's not easy. So leading a see all these devotees, Krishna, Arjuna, they are very simple. They were all taken to task by Duryodhana, but because they were simple, they went to exile, but they came back with vengeance. So Lord always prefers a simple, straightforward person without too much of kutaniti, with too much of politics. Lead your life with santosh, satisfaction. Samadrik seva, rendering service to saintly persons. Whenever sannyasis come from India, render service to them, bow down to them. Unnecessarily, don't try to attend parties and do unnecessary engagement. That's like Gramya Mahila. It is mentioned in scriptures. Gamya iha uparama. The in villages there are meeting points where ladies, it's mentioned Gramya iha uparamya. That means Ramya Ramani they talk about this, that more they talk about bad things about others, more happy they become. So gradually, so don't try to engage yourself in unnecessary engagements. Iksha, don't do prajalpa, unnecessary talking about others. That's a typically a US party going things when people get together. They just keep talking about others, and you'll see that at the end of 2 3 hours, it's all useless talk. Maunam, remain silent and grave, and avoid unnecessary talk. Vimarsanam, considering whether one is body or the soul. Always think that we are not the body, we are the soul. And most of the time, whenever we go to office, we may look at our body and try to shape it up, but always have that inner consciousness about our ability to distinguish between body and soul. Distribute food equally to all living entities. It's very important. We have a temple setting. Whenever we go to prasad, make sure everybody else get an opportunity to have some remnant of the supreme, and not gobble up and take home when others are not uh, able to eat. Wait till the end to partake. Bhutebhya, seeing every soul equally as part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shravanam, hear about the activities and instructions given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which you are doing. In the morning we have Srimad Bhagavatam class. In the evening we have, nowadays we are doing a Upanishad, verse by verse, and so on. Kirtanam, chant about the glories of the Lord and his activities and instructions. Smaranam, always remember these activities and instructions. Seva, try to render service in whatever capacity in temple or in other places. Each perform worship in your house, in temples or wherever. Avanati, do a prostrate obeisances when you get in the temple. Always lead a life of humility. And if you can't bow down to the Supreme Acharyas and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you will never bow down and tolerate others. So if you inculcate that habit of bowing down and offering obeisances, it will you'll grow that habit, and eventually this will be internalized in your process. Dasyam, feel like a servant, because you very much know that you are the part and parcel of the Supreme, and whatever you do, whatever little money you acquire, become a millionaire or a billionaire, you'll always be uh, poorer than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where Lord, when Goddess Lakshmi is uh, massaging the feet of the Lord. So, trying to be crazy after money is not going to take you anywhere. And Sakyam, become a friend to the devotee, become a friend in your lifestyle, have the attitude to lead a friend, and Atma Samarpan. And eventually, when you have all these qualities, you will have an intent to surrender your entire thing, which some of great personalities in scriptures. We have Bali Maharaj. He totally gave Atma Samarpanam to Bhavanadev. And but these are the traits which differentiate us from animals. And Narad Muni is telling this to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yudhishthira Maharaj was a bright person. Why was he listening all this from Narad Muni? Because he considered when a person start learning a lot, he or she will become like a tree where it's filled with fruits, and the trees with a lot of fruits is always sunken with humility. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was one of the most humblest souls, and he was understanding all these nitty-gritty details from Narad Muni. So this 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 verses, if you Google it, you'll get all the answers. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 11th chapter, these 5 verses. So you should take a moment to read this, so that when we talk about our duty, kartavyaniti, we know what these duties are. These are the duties which will make you unique and differentiated from an animal. Otherwise, there will be no difference between us and animals. So, beautiful words to ponder more and more. Ponder about not being able to get carried away. Have an attitude to attitude for renunciation. The attitude of renunciation. Last time we heard about culture of renunciation. This time it is the what should be our attitude of renunciation. Our attitude of renunciation should be do our job without attachment. Forget about the doership mentality that this is the work I am doing and this will all manifest under my capacity, and don't expect any results. And then do these 30 items you discussed as a matter of duty. So we can go on and on, but like to end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any question or comments based on this topic? Any additions? Anybody wants to add anything? Want to reflect on something about why we get attached to our job whenever we do any job, and then eventually that attachment entangles us in not being able to release ourselves from the clutches of this illusory energy of the Lord. So that's the reason why it's better to stay detached right from the beginning.
Thank you, Prabhuji. These 30 characteristics you said, which differs us from others. Where can I find that one? Can I just...
Yeah, so if you Google, go to Google and you search SB space 7.11.8-12.
Wait a minute. Okay, let me just take a screenshot of this.
Yeah, so this is Srimad Bhagavatam,
Uh-huh.
7th canto,
Yeah, I took the screenshot, yeah.
11th chapter, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 5 verses.
Oh, those verses explains those things. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's
So
summarized.
these verses are Sanskrit verses. Srila Prabhupada has beautifully, painstakingly translated for our betterment. And this is where Narad Muni is speaking to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And these 30 qualities are mentioned in those 5 verses. So, in different languages, we call 7th skanda. So 7th canto, 11th chapter, 8th
Yeah,
verse, 9th verse, 10th verse, 11th verse, and 12th verse.
yeah, I got it. I took a screenshot. I'll check it. Thank you.
And we have duty for our parents, we have duty for our ancestors, we have duties to the Guru. And that's a different classification. We can talk about it later. But before that, unless we lead a life of a human being and we behave, that's the reason why human beings who do not have these qualities, they are behaving like animals with wars and whatnot. So you're hearing day-to-day life. So it is better we immerse ourselves and stay as human being and not lead a life of an animal in our ability to. So that's the reason why the proprietorship, that this is mine, this entire thing is mine, it is going to take us down. So it is better we lead a life of detachment, and it's going to help us in our ability, in our life, and so on and so forth. Any reflections? Anybody wants to add anything? Bhakti Ratnaka Prabhu, you are unmuted. You want to say something? Or Prajapati Prabhu, Niranjan Prabhu, Shanta Mataji, you want to say something?
Thank you, Prabhuji. We don't want to.
Okay.
Okay.
So next Saturday, I will. Yes, Niranjan
Prabhuji,
Prabhu.
only one point, Prabhuji, sorry.
Hare
I
Krishna,
just
Babuji.
came from Govindas Prabhuji, so I think I dozed after the first point. Prabhuji, the second point where we are expectation of the result, right, Prabhuji? That is where I want to highlight one point, Prabhuji. There is a very, very subtle difference. It's a very gray area, Prabhuji. All these things, these are very gray areas that attach. We should not expect the result, but so there are two aspects of that expectation of the result, Prabhuji. One expectation is the enjoying the means trying to enjoy the outcome or react to the outcome. I would say not enjoy, try to react to the outcome, either happiness or distress, right? But at the same time, Krishna very subtly says that we should do the duty means we should perform such that the result will be successful. We should not miss that point. I want to emphasize there, Prabhuji, that it is not that okay, anyway the result is not going to go, so I will not make an effort, or um, we should be very, very careful in analyzing that point, Prabhuji, that we should do as best as we can and then do the best, leave the rest. That is what I wanted to just highlight one point there.
Mm-hmm.
That there is a very gray area. That's a very gray area. We may think that okay, anyway, I'm not getting the result, so I will not put my. I will not since I'm not caring about the result. I will not put much effort. We should not be that. That should be eliminated, Prabhuji. That is
Yeah,
only the point which I wanted to
right.
mention.
Yeah. So Krishna in these verses have nowhere said to not give the best, and also Krishna has not said to be meek. There is a difference between humility and meekness. So when we realize that you're in love with Krishna and you want to give the best to Krishna, obviously you will not try. But yes, that subtle differentiator comes into mind. Okay, if I'm not going to get anything, if this is not mine, why would I try? That attitude we have to shun from our lifestyle. You are doing something for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srimati Radharani, Lord Jagannath, Baldev Subhadra, Gaur Nitai. That motivation should be enough to get us forward. And if we have that mindset, then we'll never feel that we are doing. But yes, people are so much attached to the job that they realize that if I'm not getting anything, why do I do the job? See, this is a very cyclical discussion, and we should try our best to unshackle ourselves from this mentality. Always give our best, rest, leave everything to rest, but don't get attached to the result of the job. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji. One example I want to give, Prabhuji, in that, in the Brajvilas, Prabhu explains this very nicely. What is humility? As you said, meekness, right, Prabhuji? So, when after all the efforts, when Hanumanji found Sita, Sita Mata in under the Ashoka tree, and he goes first initially as a very smaller than a leaf also, Prabhuji. He hides behind the leaf and starts the Ram Katha, because Sita Mata was very dejected, so he doesn't want it to directly come and present the case. He wanted to first present the Ram Katha. So he started the Ramayana, Prabhuji. So when Sita Mataji was little pacified, and with all the ambience she was in, all the Rakshasis who were trying to harass her, and Ravana harassing her, when she hears Ram Katha, she gets pacified. Then Hanumanji comes into the picture from the leaf. Previously, he was smaller than a leaf, and from that he talks the Ram Katha. So when he comes down, Sita Mataji asks that, who are you? Are all the soldiers of the Ram who are going to come to Lanka are as of your size? So that time, Hanumanji says, no. I am I am the smallest in the whole army, which means he's trying to be humble. Humility. He's showing that they are not of the same size as me, as smaller than a leaf, but they are all big soldiers. So, but the most important point which I want to highlight here in our context is, Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhuji. You broke up. Is it just me who is not able to hear Prabhuji? Prabhuji, you broke up. You were with Hanumanji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Bhakti Ratnagar, Prabhu. We are not able to hear you. Prajapati, Prabhu, you are also not able to hear him, right?
Yes, not hearing.
Yes, Prabhuji. We could not hear you after you
yeah.
talked about
Sorry for
Hanumanji with the
that. You
leaf.
are
Yeah.
okay, Prabhuji. I was hearing. I was able to hear you. You're asking that. So can you hear me now, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Yes.
So where did you lose me, Prabhuji?
Where you talked about Hanumanji being the size of a leaf.
Yes, size of a leaf. Then also he has shown the size that he be very gigantic also, Prabhuji. Then Sita Mataji asks that, what is your actual size? Are you small or are you big? Okay. Then Hanumanji gives a very classic reply, Prabhuji, which we all should adopt. Is what is the essence of this second line of the verse what you are talking, Prabhuji. Is that Hanumanji says, I am my original size, but I become as big as Sri Ramji wants me to become big. On my own, I am the same size, but if for executing executing the devotional service to Sri Ramji, if I have to become, I'll become very big. And if in the execution of devotional service we have to become as small, I will become as small. So my size is dependent upon my loving devotional service to Sri Ramji.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that is what here also, Prabhuji, in this context where humility, that we should do the duty as Hanumanji, like he in the Mahabharata war, Hanumanji was more powerful than Bhima, right? but he did not try to show his power that time. He was on the flag only. He didn't try to show his might and everything. But in the Ram, and when it was needed, he also brought the whole mountain in his hand to save Lakshmana. So that is what our effort, our attitude towards our duty of devotional service should be, Prabhuji. That's the point which I wanted to emphasize. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Very nice. Niranjan Prabhu, you were saying something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, nice class Prabhuji. I mean, I like lot of good points. Like the 30 characteristics that you mentioned is really good. I mean, as a human being, what we have to do. And coming to this point, like we should not, attach to our results. Like we do your duty. I mean, sometimes I feel like, sometimes it works, sometimes I feel like it's very, I mean, unknowingly we sometimes depend on the results, sometimes not. Uh, so, I mean, how do we maintain that uniformly? I know it's a little bit difficult.
Yeah. So this is exactly why we need speed breakers in our life. That's the reason why we need association. Why I'm saying that, Prabhu, whenever this is the same example I may have given, so pardon me for duplicating it. When our car, we feel sleepy, we're driving a car and our car sways to the side. There are these speed breakers on the right, on the shoulder where you basically break and see the only thing we must say to ourselves that nothing in this world belongs to us. We are just here temporarily, asaswatam, and it's a place where we are going to live, which is a dukhalaya, but we are always thinking that this is a very great place. So always when we reflect on this, that this is a temporary place, and whatever we do in 60, 70, 80, whatever the case may be, we are going to leave this planet. So nothing is. So why hanker for scoring or settling a score for the sake of this? And also, if we can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead with our good deeds, when you associate with devotees, you will remind with you when you associate with honest devotees who are not hankering for a place or a position or this or that, you realize that you are not alone. You have a bunch of similar thinking people in a temple setting who are very simple in their ability and humble, not showing attitude, and you will try to imbibe them. So it's a culture, Prabhu. It's an attitude. It has to be nurtured and it has to be aroused, and it is not. It can be uh, installed at that point in time. But at the end of the day, Prabhu, if you associate and you stay in Krishna consciousness, you will rub your shoulder and you will get uh, good habits will come to you through pure association and you will get speed breakers through a counselor or somebody in Krishna consciousness where they will ask you, they will lead you to a better path. Okay, bro?
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah. Thank you. And yesterday I visited to temple. I got a lot of good opportunity to meet other devotees. I mean, it was a wonderful Radhastami celebration in our temple.
Awesome, bro. Very nice. Very nice.
And I was attending one of the classes from the Grace Lal Govindas about one of the sections wherein Chaitanya Charitamrita, where you know, Rai Ramanand Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussing in the Godavari, Godavari, like, so Mahaprabhu is asking like, what is the better thing? What is so Rai Ramanand Rai is actually explaining one by one, like, service attitude is greater than, like, there are some 10 steps as I remember. So I mean, at point like Gopi Bhav is more powerful, like is great. Then after Gopi Bhav also Radha is the topmost. I mean, there is no other devotee like Radha. The way Srimati Radharani, devotes to Lord Krishna, no one can match to that point. So that is the highest point of devotion to Lord Krishna. So how she devotes, like in Madhuri Ras, right, Prabhuji? So that is the topmost, right? I mean, how do we, like as a devotee, like do devotion in a Madhurya Ras, Prabhuji? Like as a service attitude, I understand, and also parental also I understand, but Madhurya Ras, like how we can practice.
Yeah, so this is where Srimati Radharani, as you know, is the greatest devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, for him, Srimati Radharani is the pleasure potency. But if you think about our social structure, they never went into a relationship like how. So, in terms of sacrifice, Srimati Radharani never thought about the social relationship. So that's why in separation, when a person is in separation, the exhibition of love is tremendous, because when a person is there, we don't see the value of that person, but when the person is away, we see the value of that person in the absence, because there are so many qualities you miss in a person. So that is the reason why when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world in Radha Bhav. So he's Krishna, he's Srimati Radharani in separation of Krishna, and Lord Jagannath is Krishna in separation of Radharani. So in the Vipralambha mood, in the separation mood, see when see love is at a topmost point. Whenever you meet somebody, your love is expressed. You go to a restaurant, you talk about good old days. That's good. But when a person is not there, then the love is in the mind, in the imagination. So Srimati Radharani used to make garlands for Lord Krishna when Lord Krishna was not in Vrindavan physically and he was in Dwarka. So the manifestation of love is amplified in Vipralambha. So that is why it is mentioned that love and separation is a topmost form of love, which having somebody around can't match. So that's the reason why Srimati Radharani is the topmost devotee. So thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in separation will give him that, hey, Lord is not with me. Let me make some bhogas. So you're constantly thinking about that person, and that makes your bhakti grow up. So if you have that mentality, you will do more service in your home, for your temple, your home temple, and wherever. And that mood of separation, when it is inscribed in your devotion, it will become better day by day by day by day. So that's the reason why Srila Prabhupada has told, if that feeling of that Radha Bhav is not coming, because we have so much of anarthas in our heart, uh, people have gone through so much of difficulty in their life, whether it is, whatever, cruelty or uh, attitude problem, this, that, it was not going to manifest soon. So that's the reason why for getting Radha, Prabhupada has recommended to give some time. So straight away, don't get into that, because we talked about premature renunciation last time, right? when we showed a sadhu who is smoking. So it's very difficult to understand Adhava and the interaction between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the banks of Godavari, those 10 points or whatever points. Uh, so that is at a very top level. So that's why we are now in Bhagavad Gita, and sometime we are now touching on Srimad Bhagavatam, which is slightly more elevated, more higher in concepts. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is even higher than Srimad Bhagavatam. So the people who have understood Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam have are getting into Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat. It is even more mellow. It's even more interesting to read some of the dialogues and interaction between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his pastimes in Jagannath Puri, his preaching tour to South India, which you are referring to, and so many such things from which we can learn a lot of principles of bhakti. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Nicely.
Prabhuji, I want to add one point also there. Madhurya Bhav, can you hear me, Prabhuji? Or
Yeah, yeah.
did I get
Yes,
connection?
Prabhuji, I can hear.
Yeah, Madhurya Bhav is basically the loving devotional service, Prabhuji. It is not the physical intimacy or the physical closeness or what at a mundane level what we here the Madhurya Bhav is basically the loving devotional service, which is what we try to. You asked one question in earlier Bhakti Vriksha, Prabhuji, that uh, how do we keep how do we keep Krishna in the center, Prabhuji? That day my voice was having issue, that's why I was talking, but you could not listen. We wanted to say that, Prabhuji, that when you love someone, like when we love our kids, Prabhuji, we always think of them, the welfare of them, right? That is what. So 24 by 7 by 365, we keep thinking about them. That is the Madhurya Bhav, which we basically is trying to imbibe between our relationship Krishna. Because Bhagavad Gita is how to live our life, and as Prabhuji told, Bhagavatam is how to die with the what mindset we should have when we are leaving this body. But Chaitanya Charitamrita is bridging that gap from a material to spiritual, like how to live to how to die in a loving devotional service. Is the how the journey is. Journey has to be through the loving devotional service, which is what the Madhurya Bhav we have. That's the highest Bhav, Prabhuji. In parental, we will try to show some superiority like that. In fraternity, in other rasas we have, but in Madhurya it is completely loving devotion service. Krishna, we feed Krishna. As Prabhupada told, make your temple, your home is your temple, where you are doing everything, thinking of Krishna. That I should make bhoga for Krishna. I should earn for Krishna. Even the mortgage you are paying is for Krishna, Prabhuji, because this is Krishna's temple. So that is what the culmination of the initial state of the Madhurya Bhav. Then you will start loving him. You will not have your personal desires or personal sensory gratification desires, Prabhuji. That is also one point which I want to add, Prabhuji.
Okay.
That is the Madhurya Bhav which we should develop.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So let's end here. Thank you so much. Great discussion. Okay, next Saturday I may be traveling, so we will skip next Saturday, but I will keep you informed in the WhatsApp group. We're going steady. Every verse of 18th chapter we're doing. So take a moment to reflect, read on these great concepts, and hopefully we will understand more in the days to come. I will keep you informed even if I'm traveling through WhatsApp. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. So
Thank you, Prabhuji.
let's end here by offering obeisances at the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas by saying Vancha Kalpataru Kripa Sindhu
Pasindu
Patita
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
की जय
ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता की जय.
की जय
श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे.
Hare
हरि हरि बोल.
Bol.